Today's August 20th, and it's Robot Space Nonsense Day.
Now, this is a little bit older story. This is from the 5th, but we have a couple of follow-ups. I don't know if did we talk about this originally?
We did.
So here's the original story. I think we already talked about this in previous weeks.
Meta is putting its latest AI chatbot on the web for the public to talk to. What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, that's a great sub-headline because a lot happened. Oh, my goodness. Is this going to kick me off? No, okay, yeah. So people talk to the chatbot, and, of course, they ask it about Meta and Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg.
Meta's AI chatbot repeats election and anti-Semitic conspiracies, and also described Mark Zuckerberg as creepy and manipulative.
Amazingly, after that headline, attempts to reproduce saying he was creepy and manipulative, it only had good things to say about him.
That's interesting.
That is interesting. It's almost like something changed. And this is just another article about specifically them talking about him.
Yeah, CEO Mark Zuckerberg is creepy manipulative, says Meta's new AI chatbot. So there's some independent confirmation of that there. They can dig through that and see what's going on.
I agree. So this person took a screenshot. I think he is, for sure. Yeah. And once again, man, how many different courts have ruled on this at this point? People keep fighting this, and it keeps always coming out the same way.
Inventors must be human, Federal Circuit rules, and blow to AI.
So the big thing here was they were arguing about the term individual. Can the AI be the individual?
No.
And the circuit court says nope. I think that was the Fifth Circuit.
But also, this could be this could be a really important ruling later for a company that uses AI to invent a new wonder drug. Will they be able to patent it?
It would have to be whoever directed the AI.
But then is that enough of a loophole to say, like, whoever directed the AI has no expertise in any of this? They were just feeding it data.
I think that's the excuse they're going to use and be like, well, that means the company owns it.
But the company is not, it has to be an individual that invented it.
Gotta be fair.
Corporate personhood. So then the AI incorporates to get personhood status. That's what they needed in Bicentennial Man, is some sort of legal loophole like that.
Delaware becomes all robots, all robot citizens. And robots, one of the dreams, I think, for some of us when it comes to robots is not having to interact with humans so much anymore. But here, it's the opposite. They're saying, no, the robot must interact. That's part of it.
A bartending robot that can engage in personalized interactions with humans. Good Lord. This is going to be like TikTok 2.0. It's like the TikTok, it's like, yeah, I'm here for another drink. And the robot bartender is familiar with all of the darkness in my soul.
I know what viral videos you like to watch when you abuse alcohol. Let me just play them on my built-in screen.
I'll pour you another round. You don't even have to think about it. That would be kind of comforting in a dark way.
But here's the downside, right? How does the bartending robot know how to talk to you and stuff like that? Well, it learns. How does it learn? Facial recognition, data collection, remembering every interaction that you have and looking over them as you come back in. So they'll be selling a lot of that data.
Yeah, well, that's a lot of customer relationship management data is like that. Whenever somebody that you do business with calls to ask you about your birthday or your kid or something, that data was fed into a CRM system. They don't remember or care. That is literally just the CRM system being like, Bob's got a birthday. You should call him and wish him a birthday and try to sell him some pencils.
Or, it's like, hey, Hank, you're drinking a little bit more than usual today. Something on your mind? He's like, oh, my girlfriend's pregnant. It's like, beep, 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 and it goes off to the federal government. And, you know how that goes.
That was going somewhere really dark, really fast.
I do not believe these headlines. However, these guys do have a product, and they claim that it is ready.
Flying car could be weeks away from takeoff. If only they can get, some approval.
So they do have FAA approval to start doing some stuff. They had to make sure that it worked on roads at speed. I think it is past that. And next we will start flying. It's called the Switchblade because the wings come in and out.
It might work on a highway, but if it's in a collision, you're going to die.
The thing's made out of fiberglass for sure. It can fly at 160 miles an hour. I don't know, maybe it's kilometers per hour.
It's like, what happened? And it's like, well, we were in New York and we got rear-ended by a rickshaw and he died.
Here's a crazy, like when you think about the economic situation, they don't know the final price. They're estimating it to be $170,000, and they've already got almost 1,700 people lined up for that. 1,700 people have $200,000 to burn on a flying car. Pre-order. A flying car pre-order.
You're not going to be able to take off and land from the highway. I've got some news for you. It's like, oh, traffic's really bad. Let me just take off from the highway. No.
Yeah. That's not a VTOL at all. That is a traditional winged plane. And, this is something that we've kind of just ignored it up until now. But there's been some lip service to it, but I think everybody is just kind of like the EV.
Just ignoring it is kind of the history of humanity with literally any kind of pollution.
It's like we literally cannot build all of these. We don't have the stuff in the ground to do this. And they're like, no, whatever, these are great. Let's just keep making them. And it seems like that is also going with Elon Musk launching a Starship every 10 minutes.
Yeah. As satellites and space junk proliferate, the U.S. is going to revise the rules of what gets shoved into orbit, because everything's getting shoved into orbit. Not necessarily the right orbit.
Problem is, this planet is spinning. I don't know if you guys noticed that. And whenever another country, like China, for example, who doesn't have any of these rules and doesn't care, puts something up there, we might rotate under to where that was. And it could fall on us. So
that's what happened in India with the Long March rocket. Actually, the story that we did last year, there were even more pieces of that came down after that. So it was just raining debris over thousands of miles.
Well, it's a great lead-in because India is in fact running their own space program. Unfortunately, not a good week for them.
India's new rocket fails to put satellites in right orbit in launch debut. So they were going to launch a bunch of small satellites. They did make it to orbit.
They're
the
up there.
Wrong orbit. It's a decaying orbit, and they're coming down.
Those I think will burn. But maybe not. Maybe you could get one in your yard. You'd probably never even be able to sue anybody for that. Modi's not going to take your phone calls. And the other thing we've learned about satellites, now that there's so many of them, it's so easy to get them up there, it's that some of them might have nefarious purposes.
Russian military satellite maybe appears to be stalking a new U.S. spy satellite. There's some rumor. So, do you think there's somebody inside the war room that's designing a satellite defense system that could take out another satellite, but make it look like the satellite is malfunctioning?
It'd be hard to do because it's so easy to observe everything, right?
Yeah.
Up there. But yeah, so we're not for sure about this, there's so much, lies and misinformation. We don't know that the satellite that we launched is a spy satellite. That's classified. We don't know what the Russian satellite's supposed to be doing. That's classified. All we know is that based on the current trajectories, that Russian satellite is going to come real close to ours. So why would it want to do that?
I think I'd probably do it with a really high power pulsed laser. It's like, it looks like it was a micrometeorite, but in fact it was a laser. But it was a laser that was only on for a very short period of time.
You could charge that,
yeah.
Even if it took a month to charge.
Yeah,
you got nothing else to do up there.
Yep.
Just we'll shoot it again in a month. Set an Outlook reminder.
And then if they ever get up there to look at it, it's like, this is just a micrometeorite. It totally wasn't a laser weapon.
And all this might be a lot more important once it's not just the satellites that are up there.
FCC votes to boost manufacturing in space.
The one of those SpaceX satellites that he just put up has some sort of like a plasma cutter or something. And they're like, let's test and see what we can do with that, with the satellite.
I don't know. The internet was working great, and then it just cut out. There's just a plasma, trying to do plasma welding in space.
And moving on to some robot stuff here. I should have sorted this before the space stuff. But DALL-E 2 is the new hotness. Whenever you want to make creative things, why do it yourself? There's robots for that.
I replaced all our blog thumbnails using DALL-E 2 for $45. Here's what I learned. The DALL-E makes some pretty darn good thumbnails.
Yeah, what he learned was it works really well, but you have to get a little bit creative and you might have to clean up some weirdness. One of the big things that I thought was impressive is DALL chose to put nonsensical text in some of its images. He was like, I don't know why that's there, but I had to take it out. So, God, those are impressive images, though. And this is terrifying because we don't like to think of spiders as having any sort of anthropomorphism, right?
Yeah.
They're alien to us. They're evil. And it makes it okay to smash them when they're in their home. This might change your mind.
Spiders seem to have a REM-like sleep and may even dream. Jumping spiders, in fact, specifically.
Look at that big guy.
It seems to be a really, you know how we have sleep paralysis? It seems to be like when they go to sleep and they're doing that, their brain is really active and doing stuff, and it sleeps. And so the brain disconnects itself from motor control. So it looks like it's dead, but it's not. It's just asleep.
So this woman was a researcher, but she got locked out of her lab because of pandemic stuff. So she was at home. So what do you do in that situation? You just head out in the garden and start collecting spiders, right? So she was hoping to observe the spiders doing something. And the thing she noticed instead was at night, because what these spiders usually do is they build like a little funnel web and sleep in that. Instead, they just hung upside down from the container she was keeping them in. She was like, that's interesting. Let's put a camera on that. And she caught them twitching in their sleep, which she believes is dreaming.
Yeah. And their eye stalks or whatever were moving like they were looking around. But they were asleep.
Of course, here's the engagement challenge, right? What do spiders dream about?
Electric sheep.
I think this is a Krista edition.
Yeah.
That's good news. I don't know what the hook is exactly.
Rare hummingbird last seen in 2010, rediscovered in Colombia. Maybe she wants to go hiking in Colombia. I've got some bad news about the ticks.
Yeah. Oh, it's paywall.
Definitely don't get a tick bite.
I didn't get a chance to read this one, but good. Congratulations, Colombian hummingbirds. Watch out for praying mantises, because our Twitch chat insists that praying mantises are murderous of hummingbirds. Like they'll seek them out. They said that there was an original story here, but they didn't give us any synopsis, and I'm furious because I need to know how you make this live action.
No, this is a live action Hollywood Pac-Man movie in the works from Wayfarer and Bandai Namco. So it's not in the works. It was not in the works before this article was created. This article was created to gauge how people would respond to a Pac-Man movie in the works. A la Sonic the Hedgehog.
Bandai Namco would never let them do this, but how great would it be if they made it a movie about the opioid crisis?
That's exactly what I was thinking. There is some incredible Pac-Man artwork out there where the Pac-Man is taking pills to forget the horrors of losing all of his...
And he's imagining the ghost. Yeah,
yeah.
I think that's a T-shirt. I've seen that.
Yeah.
But that was on a spaceship, I think.
Yeah.
That'd be a great venue for it. But if you did it about the opioid crisis, it could be like, Pac-Man starts taking his pills and he gets over his pain and he's powerful, but then it wears off and then he gets haunted.
Yeah.
Haunted by his actions while he was on the pills.
And he doesn't always survive.
What a waste of that IP. Also, I think this is a waste of the IP. Here's one of the big IRS stories that we saw this week, and this is not actually news. I mean, I already knew that. Remember when the IRS bought just an astonishing amount of ammunition a couple years ago?
With the 87 in the business section, so that article in the business section from Monday, 87,000 new agents, 5 million rounds of ammunition on top of whatever they had already stockpiled. Did they use what they had before? Because it was already a disturbing amount.
I mean, I guess training, right? But how should I join the IRS? Do I get to spend like 4 hours a week in the range as part of my IRS job? Because, but it is terrifying.
IRS faces online uproar over special agent job posting requiring the ability to use deadly force, quote unquote, if necessary. Now, they've since taken the job posting down. But yeah, it just seemed like, you're going to be a field agent to do whatever. Okay. I mean, do we really send in the IRS agents if it's money laundering for organized crime? Seems like that would be a joint operation between the IRS and some other departments, maybe.
Yeah, you would find out And then you would find the local department. It's like, hey, we need to make an arrest or we need to serve a search warrant or whatever. But no, they want to do it themselves.
This is how we get videos like the ATF guy just showing up at your house and then the local police being like, we weren't in the loop on this, so we're just going to arrest you and figure it out later.
But I think the answer to that is because everybody hates the IRS.
Yeah.
I mean, cops pay taxes, right? So the threat could be that if everybody says no at the same time, you start making examples.
And with the IRS being able to look into your bank account for any transaction over $20, not $600 anymore as it used to be, what need do they have of this?
I think the real thing, like the good thing about this, is that we've never seen any indication that any of our government agencies would be used for political purposes, just to harass people. That's never been done, so we can be confident that won't happen to us here.
I wish we could pop down to Mexico.
The irony is just overwhelming here. It's astonishing. I mean, it's on both sides of the aisle here, but I got to say, because part of these stories were like the Mexican people were like, we're tired of this. Don't come down here. We don't want you here. And it's just like, what? How can you not see? Do you not have mirrors?
Southern California residents going to Mexico, literally, for cheaper groceries. Hey, okay. Just drive across the border and pick up some milk and eggs and some good meat.
I've heard word on the street is you can do this for medical procedures and pills. Now, the pills, a little bit of a risk bringing them back. Got to be real careful about that. There's an alarming amount of these headlines, and this is a risky YouTube headline.
Yeah.
But it is something that was in a peer-reviewed journal, so we should be able to talk about it, right?
No.
Oh, you want to skip it?
No, I know we don't have to skip it. It's just that it's going to be in the link thing. So.
Oh, yeah. Maybe we should take it out of the links.
The Guardian. This is from The Guardian. University investigates PhD students' paper on something that's... I don't even to comics of young boys, and so just use your imagination there. And the Manchester University was like, "Oh, maybe there's an ethical thing here. We should investigate this." And it's like after he's already put the thing together, this is like 3 months gathering and recording his thoughts while just Japanese comic books. Yes, this involves Japanese comic books. I've got the Vogons on speed dial. We can just call them and tell them we're ready for the highway.
It'll probably take them 10 years to get that started. So, Shota Comics, I've never heard of that before.
No.
I don't know what a Shota comic is, but he's a big fan of them. And he even talked about how he ended all of his other relationships and had no sexual contact of any kind. Anytime he felt the need, he would go and get these comics. And then he documented that process. And that went into a peer-reviewed journal. People read this. People in that industry read this and said, "Ah, yes. Yes, I've reviewed this and it's good. Publish it."
Furthering the body of human knowledge.
Technically true.
In vectors that no one had ever asked for.
I imagine there's a lot of people who've done research on this, but hid it because it's a horrible thing that you should be ashamed of. Not be slowly made. This is a boiling frog, I'm afraid. I did not realize that ESPN was doing this promotion, but what a hilarious thing. This was such a good idea, whoever came up with this.
Excel esports on ESPN show the world the pain of format errors. So ESPN actually ran with the joke and did kind of a thing where their ESPN ate the Ocho, and they did competitive Excel as a sport, like Microsoft Excel, the spreadsheet.
Yep. So this is it's called like financial something battle. So what these guys are doing, they're given a financial problem to solve, and then whoever gets it done first. But then you get to watch it, and there's commentators, and so you can see like this is the kind of action you'll be seeing during the Excel showdowns. That is impressive stuff, though. And it turns out that all these people like, look at these super grandmaster, FM master. That's financial something or other. I wonder if they do other kinds of Excel stuff, like not just financials.
I saw somebody implement Doom in Excel once.
And this is just one of those situations where it's like, maybe we should investigate further. I don't know. Maybe we should look for some other clues because something doesn't add up about the headline.
LAPD body found on fire hanging in a tree in Griffith Park, likely a suicide. You know, that's the headline, but then you read the description from the police chief, and he's talking about a body found on a merry-go-round.
Was he?
It was later, you know, in the tree and some other stuff, but it was like, we think they played on the merry-go-round, or they set themselves on the merry-go-round, and then they climbed the tree. And it's like, that seems even more unlikely.
It seems tough to climb a tree while you're on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought maybe they were like standing in the tree with the noose. I assume it was a noose, right?
Oh, was the tree overhanging the merry-go-round? I mean, I don't really want to know that, but maybe that would explain it.
But I guess you light yourself, then you drop. That would certainly be an encouragement to make the drop, right? Like if you just like, I just can't push myself over the edge there. Oh, incredible pain.
Yeah.
I can do it now.
I don't know.
That's a dick move, though.
Yeah.
That's not the way you should do that. Exit bags. Use an exit bag. There's almost no cleanup. You don't have to do it in public.
Don't make a mess for somebody else to deal with.
Yeah. And I love articles about cats. And it seems like every time we study cats, we learn that we mean nothing to them. We are just caretakers.
So, you hate cats. Well, it turns out they probably like that better than if you love on them all the time. So this is an article from London that just basically talks about how if you just leave your cat alone and don't do anything with it, it probably likes that better than being constantly, than not only being constantly pet and handled, but feeling like it has to be constantly pet and handled in order to be fed.
Doesn't like to be controlled at all. So like when you're petting a cat, if you're holding on to it, they're not fans of that.
The last couple of weeks, my cat at home has been going crazy to be fed constantly. I mean, it's just, it is meowing endlessly unless it is actually eating.
I feed my cats at 4 p.m. They start meowing at 2. And it just, every day. It never works, but they do it every day.
Well, we switched to a feeder that does automatic timed feeding that has 5 slots. And so the cat gets fed 5 times a day.
Oh, but that makes sense because your cat is saying like, well, yesterday after the 500th meow, it gave me food.
It's just random behavior at this point.
Might as well keep meowing.
It's so pathetic too because it's like a panicked meow. Like you really, I haven't had any food in years.
Yeah, Toast does that where it's like breathy, short, rapid, like, like that's when he's really, really upset. And if he's mad at me or like, he's angry about something, he puts the bass in it. It's like,
I made the mistake of giving it a tiny piece of rotisserie chicken, and now it's like, I only want rotisserie chicken.
Can you imagine going back to cat food after you've had rotisserie chicken? And this is it's not, we see the tech companies doing this, and we're kind of jaded to that, I guess, but it's funny when other companies do this because they will do anything not to lose those Chinese sales. How many Snickers do you think were sold in China today? 1 billion?
Probably a lot. Snickers maker apologizes for ads suggesting Taiwan is a country. So Mars Wrigley, they had a thing on their on some of their candy, and it was like, this is only available in something in Taiwan, and on Chinese Weibo, I guess. Weibo?
I think it was a tweet, right? They were saying that a new kind of thing was coming, but it was only going to be available in certain areas.
Yeah, and Weibo the chat on Weibo was like, whoa, what are you saying? That's China. That's not Taiwan.
And you don't get more kowtow than this. Mars Wrigley respects China's national sovereignty and territorial integrity and conducts its business operations in strict compliance.
Did you see the thing? There was a quote from one of the Chinese state ministers that said, how would the world react if Scotland decided to leave the UK? And I was like,
yeah, a little bit different. I think the history was the reverse in that situation. Yeah. And it's like Scotland wasn't running away; they were being invaded. This is obviously one that Krista added. I don't know much about it, but the thing that stood out to me is they named their child Royd. Is that how you pronounce that? Royd?
Yeah.
Ride, maybe? Royd?
I think it's Royd.
What a crazy name, Royd.
Great-grandson of the Lord of the Rings author JRR Tolkien, 53, was assaulted by a neighbor, 83, who sprayed him in the face with a weed killer after he accused him of dousing his plants at a garden fence.
For sure, when he was in grade school, they called him Royd of the Rings, right? How do you not think of that when you're naming your child? But yeah, they were arguing about, apparently this guy poisoned the fence line, and neighbor didn't like that, so decided to poison him.
Yeah, it's like, hey, stop spraying. It's like, you're killing my flowers. And the old guy was arrested, and he has a 12-month probation, but he doesn't have to pay any fines or anything. Both of them said it'd probably make matters worse if the old guy, it's probably on fixed income, had to pay any kind of fine.
No fixed income. How the hell does he live next to that kind of money and be on a fixed income?
The picture, if that's supposed to be a picture of a nice neighborhood in... No, keep going. Yeah. If that's supposed to be a picture of a nice neighborhood in the UK, okay, I guess.
That looks like a great neighborhood.
Well, but the houses are still kind of on top of each other.
Yeah, but they don't have any land.
Yeah, well...
Yeah, it's just it's a horrible place where everybody's on top of each other. That's how they live.
And you occasionally get the 83-year-old neighbor who's just tired of your crap and is going to spray you in the face with weed killer.
I'll be damned if Royd of the Rings kills my weeds. He didn't write shit. Oh, I should have said that.
All right, that's all we got for this week. We'll catch you next week. A friendly reminder that August is almost over. Oh, no!